Hi guys, today we are going to do exercise 4, the layer style exercise. So I'm gonna share my desktop with you and we're going to go into one of the exercises. So this is something we're going to try to create. We're going to have a background. We are going to have two models in front of it. You may have a title on it, and we're going to work on the layer picture in the background. So let's just go to Photoshop and we're going to start with new file. So click on new file. You can go to print and select a regular paper size. We're going to change the resolution to 72 again so that our file is not too big. And we have a regular printer paper size canvas. We can always zoom in. So you can click on the zoom, click on this, or you can do Command plus or Control plus. So there are a lot of those controls in different places. You see everything on the left column. When you click on any of these, you have more controls here. And then there are also a lot of things you can do through the menu on top. There are little tools here that you can use for your layers. So I'm going to show you a couple of those things. Now, just to remind you about one of the things we did last time, we're going to go to the Marquee Tool, which is here, and we're going to select the rectangular Marquee Tool. And when you click on this one has a feathering on the top, so that's why it shows the corners a little bit oval. But if you have no feathering, let's say 0 feathering, and we create one, then you'll have a regular rectangular shape. And when you have that and you have a foreground color selected, if you want to go to fill and you click on this, it's going to fill that surface. If you want to, let's create another one. Let's create, let's say, an elliptical one. Okay, we create this and we have the color selected. Of course, you can also go to foreground color and select a different color. So let's say we select this. Okay, and then we go to fill and we fill this up. When you are on this shape that you created, one thing you can also do is you can go to edit and you can click on fill. And when you click on fill, it will give you extra options. So you can actually select a color from here, or you can also go to pattern and select a pattern. And there are a couple of custom patterns here. So let's just look at what we have on water. So these are some water patterns, and I can select this and it's going to fill that with that pattern. So there are some options. What I'm going to do is go to edit and stroke, and you can select a color and you can select how thick the stroke is going to be, and the stroke creates a border for your picture. So we can do that, and you see that there's a border here. So that's another thing you can do. Now I can create all of these as separate layers as well. So I can go here and I can say, let me see, there's a little plus button here. So you can click on this and it's going to create a separate layer. You can do the same thing here. You can go to layer and you can say new layer, and it's going to create another layer. And if you create pictures or shapes on each layer, let's create something on layer 1, and you can also rename those. So you have a lot of those options. So let's go to layer here. It says rename layer. So I'm going to rename this as the rectangular shape. And then I'm going to go to this layer. I'm going to rename this one as circle. So now I'm going to the rectangular shape layer. And now I'm going to create a rectangular shape. So let's do this. I'm going to fill that with the color that we already have selected. Okay. And I'm going to stroke this one. But before, once I click on stroke, I can change the color. So I'm going to click on the color and I'm going to stroke this with this color. Okay, and you can increase the width of this. So let's try 3, and 3 gives us this. If you wanted to change the stroke, we can make it 10, and it will give you a thicker border. Okay, so we have that, and then we'll go to this other circle, and we're going to create a circle. Okay, I want to make it more elliptical. This time I'm going to fill it. Let me go to foreground color. I'm going to fill it with this color here. Go to this and fill it. Okay. Now I have 2 different shapes, but each of them are separate layers. So when I go to my move tool, I can move this. I can, oops, I should have deselected this. I can move this. I can move this, right? And I want to get rid of whatever is underneath. So what I'm going to do is go to the background, and I'm going to make the background invisible. So that way I get rid of whatever is showing here. So you can do that with any of the layers. If you want this to disappear, the rectangular shape to disappear, you can just click on the eye, and when the eye is not there, it's not visible. So that shape is going to be invisible now. Or if you want to do this one, you go to the layer, you just click on this, and you get rid of that. Okay, so the layers work a little bit differently, but you will keep working on them and you'll learn a little bit better. So I want to just make that background invisible so we can play with these. And again, you can go to fill here, and you can fill this with a pattern if you want. So let's select this, whatever that pattern is. It actually selected the whole thing, because, or we have to select where we want to fill. So since we didn't select anything and we just said fill, it just filled the entire page. So what we want to do is maybe select this. I have to go to, let's do deselect. You can also do Control D. We're going to go to the rectangular shape, select the area. I'm going to select half of this. How about that? And then we go to edit, fill. We have the pattern, and we say okay, and it's going to fill whatever we selected. Okay, so we have a little pattern in here. Now, when we try to move this, it's going to move everything together. The reason is because all of this stuff is in one layer. So when you move things, it's going to move together. Now on this background layer, if I make it, let's make these 2 pages invisible. On the background level, you only have this. This is your background. So you cannot move each shape separately here unless you select it, obviously. But because these are separate layers here, you know, you can move this separately and you can move that separately. If you want to move them together, you can actually merge them. So to do that, what you do here is you go here, you have to select both of them. And then there's a little button here that says link layers. So you can click on this, and then you'll see the link icon here, which means now these 2 pictures are linked. So whenever you're moving it, you're going to be moving them together. And of course, you can also, let's see, and you can get rid of that link. That way you can move them separately. These are just some options that I wanted you guys to know about. One other thing I want to talk about is about the magic wand. I think you guys had trouble in class. So I'm going to go to Google Images, and I want to select a picture of Youngstown first. Or maybe we can do YSU campus. So let's say YSU campus. And I want to have a nice picture. Okay, let's do this one. I'm going to copy image, go to Photoshop. Now I'm going to delete this and we don't need to save any of that. So first, let's just create a canvas. Make sure it's 72 pixels per inch resolution. And now I'm going to say File New, because I want to create a new layer. I don't want to put it on my background. So I'm going to create and then edit paste, or you can do Control V or Command V. Now I have a picture of YSU campus. What I want to do now is create models. Okay, how about this one? I will copy image, go to Photoshop, File New, because I want to create a new layer, remember. And now I want to paste the picture here. Now I'm going to just reiterate how the magic wand works, because on the school computers, we don't have the latest version of Photoshop. So you couldn't use this option of object selection. But if you go to magic wand and you try to select, you see how it didn't really select and you want to correct it. So to be able to correct things on the older version, you have to have this selected. If you have this one, this is by default selected when you click on magic wand. So make sure you have this one, because if you have this one, then you can actually go with magic wand and try to correct some of those selections that are not right. Okay, so I'll just copy this because I think we got a good one here, except we have to inverse this. So you go to select, you inverse, so that we select the model instead of the background. So I'm going to copy this just to keep it in our pocket. Since we already copied, I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste my picture. I can always use move, and you have to make sure it has this selected, show transform controls. That way you have the outline and then you can make this smaller. Okay, so I can actually make this a little bit smaller and put her on here. Now with this layer, I want to add a gradient. So you can go to this tool here and you can do gradient. And you can select a color and it will give you that gradient. We can control these. So you can make it linear. You can click on this and you'll be able to make some changes. You can move these around. Okay, so you can select different things here. Change the gradient to this. You can change the roughness. And you can make changes like this. And then let's just do this. And then with the model, what I want to do with the model is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, increase the size. And I want to emboss this. So you have to select the layer for this, go to FX, go to bevel and emboss. And now we can select something. So we can increase the depth. And you can see the borders a little bit more pronounced here. Let's say this inner glow color overlay. You can do this. We're not going to do that. Pattern overlay, outer glow. So you can add different things. So I'm going to leave it at that. And we're going to add another model. So let's select this one. Copy image, go to Photoshop, File, New, Clipboard, Create, and then paste. And we are going to do the magic wand again. So we want to select all of those spots. Okay, I think I selected everything. Let's select here. Now I'm going to go inverse. I don't know what it is selecting at the bottom, but we're just going to go ahead and go to our background, and we're going to, oops, I forgot to copy. This is what happens when you forget to copy whatever you selected. So this is what I selected. I have to copy it and then go back and paste it. Okay, and then let's move this a little bit. Oops, this is a background. This is our model. We can make this a little bit smaller. You can also go to image and go to the image size. Let's just go to this layer, image size, and it will tell you the size of your image, which is really big. So you can always change the width, for example, to 10, and you can play with it. So let's just zoom into this. We can use the hand tool to move your canvas and move tool to move your objects. Okay, so this is our model. So our model is going to stay here. I think this model is a little too big compared to that, so I'm going to make this a little smaller. What I can do also is I can select this model and I can do a stroke on this. So I can go stroke. I can select a color. So what I'm going to select is a black color. And I'm going to have a black layer around, but this was a little too thick, so we can actually make that. Okay, let's go to stroke. So I'm going to do this at 2, and that way we have this background. Let's do that with this one too. I kind of like that stroke. Okay, and we have that one also. So now I'm just going to have something here that says YSU, but I also kind of want to change that background layer a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. I can play with the background, so I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. And now I'm going to add a title. So maybe we just say, welcome to YSU. And, or we say why I'm proud. So how about that? Let's just copy image. And it looks like why I'm proud is already selected as separate without the background in this picture. So let's see how that copies here. So I say file, new, clipboard, create, and then paste. I want to see if this will paste as it is. Ooh, it's too big. So let's go back to our picture and go to image size. It's a lot bigger than our regular printer page. I'm going to make this like a 5. Okay, I think this is better. So let's just copy this and then paste it here. And you see, because it didn't have the background, it actually already, you know, copied only with the letters. Now it's behind the girls. So what I want to do actually is go to the move tool and move it somewhere. Oops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my layers and the gradient invisible. Okay. So that I can just select why I'm proud. Well, in that case, I'm going to make everything else invisible. So why I'm proud is going to be the only one. And I can move it up now. Now I can go back and make everything visible. Okay. Let's maybe we do that here. Okay. Now we have a picture. It's not that great, but this is what you're going to do for exercise 4. I mean, exercise 5. So you're going to go to save as and save it on cloud if you can. I'm going to do exercise 5. And this is called the exercise. And save it as a PSD file. Okay, so we're done with this one. And I'll see you in the next video.